this is course is like you both worked together in the To All the Boys I Loved Before franchise, and now we're several years removed from that. What was it like working together on this project? I guess mostly because, though this film has a little bit of YA elements, it's not inherently a YA project. So what was it like being able to reunite with this project and then have a different dynamic, like your characters are romantically involved in this project? So what was it like to come together for this one?
Totally.
It's
I
weird.
mean, that's a great question. I think, I mean, it was so great. Ross and I have known each other forever. We did those movies, we did To All the Boys together, um, in a very different capacity. We
Oh
were
yeah.
not romantic with each other whatsoever in those
Mm.
films. But Ross and I have always gotten along very well, and we've always had we have a very similar sense of humor,
Hmm.
and we have great banter with each other. And so when I was stepping into this role, I was just so desperate to have it be Ross because I had always kind of known, like, even since To All the Boys, I'd always hoped that I would get the opportunity to work with you in this
Yeah.
capacity because I
Same.
really thought that we would kill it.
Yeah.
Of course, like, I think we were friends. So it was like the first day when we had to kiss each other, it was like,
Which was the literal first day.
so it was the first
Yeah.
day. And honestly, I'm glad it was because it just
Yeah.
got it out of the way and then it
Yeah.
was fine. But like, it was definitely a little bit of like
We're
okay.
doing this. Just
But it was a joy to work with Ross, and
yeah.
I would do it again in a heartbeat for sure.
Yeah, and also like you said earlier, it's like To All the Boys we were playing teenagers,
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
which and we weren't teenagers
Thank
at
you
that
for
time. And
yes.
now we're like adults and we actually get to play adults. So it was
That was great.
yeah, it was like a very different dynamic of
Yeah.
when you're an adult pretending to be a teenager,
Yeah.
pretending to act with another
Teenager
teenager.
that's pretending to be a
Yeah,
teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. This felt so much more like
grounded and
grounded.
yeah.
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 Yeah, yeah. And one thing I love about this film is that, of course, it is an Asian-led ensemble. For both of you, what do you think the importance of a movie like this having an ensemble led by actors of color? Because I feel like a lot of times I would watch, movies in this vein, always wonder, like, a lot of times it feels like actors of color and characters of color don't really get the same treatment. Just to have like a breezy rom-com, an anthology like this, it seems few and far between. And I think that it's important that while the identity is acknowledged, it's not like inherent. Like this could be like any character, except for
Yes.
the fact that like with the character of Kai, I do feel the need that like parents of color
Yeah.
have strict rules for their kids. I can
Yeah.
relate to that. But
Yeah.
why do you think it's so important that a story like this that talks about identity but isn't intricately tied to it is important considering the time we're in right now?
Mm.
It's so important because for a couple reasons. One, that yes, Asian actors, Asian American actors, and such a broad spectrum of emotions here, from super bubbly to dramatic, and we get to showcase that. But the second, and what's most important to me, is that, again, yeah, we aren't intrinsically Asian. This isn't an Asian story. That
Mhm.
we're not like kung fu masters or like or
Totally,
like
totally.
monks or whatever. Like we are just
It's just
Asian Amer
showing us as humans
Yeah,
living our life.
yeah, exactly. And having tough parents, that isn't just an Asian thing. Again, yeah, it
Yeah.
is like even, I know some white people with tough parents and expectations of them. But yeah, and the only like reference to Asianness in this, or Asian, yeah, is Malaysia, and that we
Yeah.
go there and we get to show a little bit of that culture. But predominantly, yeah, these are just 8 people
Yeah.
with really complicated relationships, and which is just true to life.
Yeah.
I think that's
Totally.
the
And I
most
think
important
that's
thing.
so important to see on camera. And I also just really quickly wanted to touch on, like, it was very exciting though. I think production made a huge effort to hire um like a lot of Asian crew and a lot of diverse crew.
Yeah.
And so that definitely was the first production I've ever been on where I'm like looking around and I'm like, oh wow, like oh my God, I'm not the only Asian person here.
Yeah.
And it makes I mean, this is a no duh, but it makes a huge difference. Like the way that we can all communicate with each other and the way, like, we get what the stories that we're trying to tell. And I think just having a crew and having a production that cared so much about having diversity behind the screen was really awesome because you can always tell, like, I typically it's usually just me and maybe one other person
Yeah.
on a set, either in front or behind the
Yeah.
camera. So there's a
Even
sense of like,
even shooting in Malaysia when
yeah,
literally everybody on the crew was
yeah,
Asian, I was like, oh, this is what it must be
to
like
feel
to
normal.
be part
Like
of
this is the
Yeah,
the
norm. This
majority.
is the
to be
norm.
a part of the majority,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you both so much for chatting with me. I can't wait for more people to watch this film and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
You
you,
too.
likewise.
You have a good one.